City Clerk, could you take the roll, please?
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Wilson. Here. Alderman Ruth Simmons.
Here.
Alderman Sufferton. Here. Alderman Ravel.
Here.
Alderman Rainey.
Here.
Alderman Fleming.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, great. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Monday, February 11th, 2019, Evanston City Council meeting. Alderman Braithwaite couldn't be here tonight, and sitting in for Clerk Reed is our Deputy Clerk, Eduardo Gomez. So welcome, Eduardo. Good to have you here. First items of business are the mayor's announcements. I have two announcements. The first one is in regards to the city manager, and just a statement that I would like to share with the community, and then we'll get to the second one. So, in the last 6 weeks or so, a few residents have questioned the city manager's tenure, asserting that his application for some other jobs show he is therefore no longer committed to Evanston. I want to take a few minutes tonight to say I disagree. Our city manager, who has served the city well for 9+ years, serves at the will of the entire Evanston City Council. On top of serving as the CEO of one of the top urban ring cities in America, a diverse city, as we all know, with 75,000 residents, $320 million budget, approximately 800 employees, 2 major hospitals, world-class university, yada, 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 he reports to 10 independently elected people, 9 aldermen and 1 mayor. Think about that for a minute. 10 bosses, some of whom are giving you contradictory direction or who have different objectives. Before you start to feel bad for anyone in that position, remember, city managers are professional public administrators. They are trained to run cities. They are trained to manage many stakeholders. They are trained to report to elected officials, and they elected to take these positions, and mind you, are paid accordingly to serve in those positions. When it comes to our city manager, Wally Bobkowitz, the majority of this council feels he is meeting or exceeding expectations. How is this known? Because annually we evaluate, the Evanston City Council and I, the city manager. In September and October, we each prepared an individual evaluation of the city manager. The 2018 Evaluation Committee of the Council, which consisted of me, Alderman Fleming, and Alderman Sufferton, reviewed the individual assessment and prepared a consolidated assessment, which was presented to the council at executive session, where the council spent 3 hours discussing the city manager. This evaluation subsequently was presented to the city manager. Additionally, some of the council members reviewed with the city manager their own evaluation of him. On October 10th, I made the following public statement in regards to the manager's performance. I'd like to reiterate it again here tonight. On October 15th, 2018, the City Council met in executive session to complete the annual review of City Manager Wally Bobkowitz. This evaluation marked the completion of 9 years of service for Mr. Bobkowitz as Evanston City Manager, making him the second longest serving city manager in Evanston history. The City Council and I gave the city manager a positive performance review. And I will stress, it was the majority of the city council. The city manager's composite score met or exceeded expectations in each of the 9 categories he was evaluated. Mr. Bobkowitz received general praise during this evaluation for his leadership in strategic planning and operations and delivery of city services, resulting in several successful citywide infrastructure improvements: Chicago Avenue and Sheridan Road, James Park Field, Fleetwood Jourdain and Chandler Newberger, etc. The hiring and promotion of a talented, hardworking, and diverse leadership team. Important interagency agreements with the CTA regarding design modernizations of the Purple Line, and Northwestern regarding the use of the Emergency Operations Center. Additional water sales to the village of Lincolnwood, and improvement to policing procedures, including alternatives to arrest. Prior to the evaluation, the city manager requested that the city council and I not consider him for any salary adjustment. Therefore, there are no changes to his current contract dated October 13th, 2016. The City Council and I value and appreciate Mr. Bobkowitz's service to the residents of Evanston and look forward to working with him in the future. That was the statement I gave back in October 2018. Mr. Bobkowitz has a right to apply for other jobs. The process of doing so does not, in my opinion, disqualify him from the job he has as our city manager. In my time working with Mr. Bobkowitz, I have not observed a decline in his effort, service, or quality when it comes to delivering services for Evanston. He continues to be a competent leader and manager I found when I arrived in this position on May 8th, 2017. I will continue to support Mr. Bobkowitz as our city manager and in his pursuit of his next career opportunity, but I will not support ending his tenure unless his commitment or service to the city is diminished. In light of the fact that we will undergo at some point in the future a new search for a city manager, I do support working with the aldermen to discuss and plan how that rollout will occur. So thank you for giving me a few minutes to share my perspective on that. Before I move to the second topic, I would like to let Mr. Alderman Suffredin say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to first apologize for indelicate language that I used towards Mr. Bobkowitz and the mayor. I'd like to clarify that the intent of my newsletter was to say that I believe elected officials should be accountable for all of their votes, but they're not accountable to me. They're not accountable to anybody but the residents who voted for them. So I am not looking to perform a second performance evaluation of Mr. Bobkowitz like we did in October in public. I'm asking, and I will call the wards, make a referral for Administration Public Works Committee to set forth procedures and policies for a vacancy in the city manager position like we have for every elected position up here. And again, I'd like to reaffirm my commitment to working on behalf of the residents that I represent with Mr. Bobkowitz for the benefit of the future of all residents of Evanston.
Great. Thank you, Alderman. Second item under the mayor announcements is we have some wonderful people here this evening from Evanston Own It. Evanston Own It. Why don't you guys come on up and introduce yourselves? They always bring good news and even more of that to Evanston once a year at this meeting. We're always pleased to see all of you.
Mayor Haggerty and members of the council, thank you for placing us on your agenda for tonight. I want to sort of share with you the Evanston Own It story. We serve our community as a group of concerned pastors, churches, and well-wishers. We look at this month of reflection, this month being Black History Month. We're forced to contemplate our past, where we've come from, but we also must look futuristically to our journey in the future in this community. In the words of James Weldon Johnson in the last verse of the Black National Anthem, he challenges us as a people. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God and true to our native land. We have come true to the commitment to our community's young people. For that reason, we have in the past several years, we've donated a total of $27,000 to the Summer Youth Program, making sure that we can help secure jobs for our young people. We've considered this task a major investment into our young people. Our hope is that our young people will develop strong ethics, a sense of responsibility, and ideals of basic teamwork while being employed for the summer. Since our inception, we have not just given financially to the Summer Youth Program. We have sponsored and supported several community projects. one of our goals was to see individual churches in the community sponsor projects that our entire community would benefit from and could support. Our Passion Week worship services held at the First Church of God Christian Life Center has served as a method of introducing our local police to the community at large. We invite Evanston's finest to introduce themselves personally at our time of spiritual reflection during this week. Evanston Sings is a celebration of the combined efforts of the churches to produce a concert to be held each year at Evanston Township High School, where the funds raised go to the support on the care of our summer youth program and any special projects that we can help. The school supplies given away and the health fair sponsored at Bethel Church helps ensure our children can go back to school prepared to learn. The hanging of the green held at the Ebenezer AME Church spearheads the Advent season for our churches to prepare for the coming of the holy season. The church's participation in the city's holiday food giveaway shows the concern that Evanston Owned has for the Evanston families in general. Our support to Ms. Samurai Moore as she ran for Miss Teen Evanston was an example of how we boost our young people who dare to dream big. As she runs for Miss Teen Illinois, we support her. Our partnership with other groups to encourage Evanston residents to vote comes from our desire to see what numerous African Americans have given their lives for. That is, the single chance to demonstrate what they believed in. Now we turn our support to a great potential program that we've looked at, and that's called Officers and Gentlemen. We find that there's some special police in the Evanston Police Force that spend time with young men, helping them learn something as simple as tying neckties, but they also prepare them to be greater and more important citizens in general. We've hosted a community meeting at the Faith Temple Church of God in Christ, where our new Chief of Police, Demetrius Cook, was honored and saluted. Mayor Haggerty and members of the council, you can see that Evanston Owned continues to be true to the advancement of our community, and sometimes we even reach far beyond the walls of this great city. We have offered support to the homeless on the sides of the expressway by giving out blankets, by giving food, and by giving water to help people that have no place to go. So we plan to keep true to our community near and far. So Wally, we're going to leave you here tonight with another donation. We're going to give $7,000 to the summer youth program and $1,000 for the Officers and a Gentleman program, which brings our total investment to $35,000 in our youth. These funds are to be earmarked for the support of these two youth services. The following churches have contributed to this effort. That's the Bethel AME Church, Christ Temple Baptist Church, Ebenezer AME Church, Faith Temple Church of God in Christ, First Church of God Christian Life Center, Friendship Baptist Church of Evanston, Mount Pisgah Ministries, New Hope CME Church, Sherman United Methodist, and Springfield Baptist Church. We've done this just to say we care.
Thank you.
All right, who comes to get the money?
Wally will be right down. All right. You all can come back anytime now. All right. Thank you. All right. All right. Next we're going to turn to city manager announcements. None. All right. How about City Clerk? Do we have any tonight?
No announcements, Mayor.
Okay, all right. So we're going to go ahead then and move to public comment. We just have a short list tonight for public comment. We have 5 people that are signed up. I'm just going to go ahead and give all 5 names, and if you guys can come on up. The city clerk will keep track of the time, but as everybody knows, and these are all folks that have spoken before. We set aside 3 minutes apiece, so if you can get your comments done in 3 minutes, that would be great. If not, I'm going to give you a little nudge, and if you can wrap it up quickly, I appreciate it. All right, first speaker is Janad Rizki, then Ray Friedman, then Doreen Price, then James Engelman, and then Madeline Decree. Do you have a pen? My pen busted.
Thank you, Alderman Sufferton, for raising the question of Mr. Bobkowitz's continued employment. I have to disagree with the mayor. Mr. Bobkowitz is not about him looking for another job. It's truly about his performance. This city, as I have said many times, is on the brink of serious financial trouble in the 2020 budget, and this council knows it. I think every council member up here knows that, and they know what's happening. It's about performance. Just listening tonight's just comments from other citizens and other meetings, everything here is a mess. Basically, they're questioning procedures, what's going on here, and the mess we're in. And I think the mess rests with the city manager and the council members that support him. I know the mayor thinks that Mr. Bobkowitz has done a good job. Of course, Mr. Bobkowitz built an office for him and renovated his office. Alderman Rainey, I think, supports him pretty well, but he built a patio for her on Howard Street. And Alderman Wilson, I know, is a big supporter. He helps him. He's got Robert Crown going along, which is in serious trouble, some of us believe. I believe Mr. Bobkowitz is responsible for well over $10 to $15 million of problems here for the taxpayers. These are performance issues. This is not about his looking for another job. It's performance. And I think aldermen here better understand that, because I think a lot of the public that comes here and speaks on many different topics is looking into all the problems that are at this city. There are a lot of people coming here raising a lot of questions about everything. It's not just me. It's not just a few that come a lot of times. A lot of citizens are angry, and they see it, and they see what's going on here. And as far as there were statements made about staff leaving, if Mr. Bobkowitz leaves, a new city manager is going to come in here and clean staff out. You don't have experienced staff running this place. It's a mess. And that's what I have to say. As far as being a CEO, that's a completely different thing. Mr. Bobkowitz is not a CEO of anything, frankly. CEOs are held to higher standards than he is, obviously, because in many corporations, they don't last too long if they don't perform. And in most corporations I've seen, they're gotten rid of. And Mayor Haggerty sat on a board, I believe, of a corporation. You ought to know that. Performance is what's valued, not looking for another job. And finally, with the election coming, you all will be held accountable, because the people of Evanston will hold you accountable. And that's what's coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, who did I say was next up? I'm sorry. Ray Friedman, then Doreen Price, then James Engelman.
Good evening, Mayor Haggerty, City Council, City Manager, and City Clerk. You know what, I first would like to say, after reading the comments for the 6th Ward, Alderman Sufferton's letter, I guess I didn't take exactly the same thing out of it. I took 2 things out of his comments. Number 1, that we need to have a balanced budget. Number 2 is what I've been talking about with communication with the public. So that's the 2 things I took from that letter. So first, I'd like to say that I sincerely hope that this year we can and will start to use the public comment forum as it was intended to foster dialogue. However, when all aldermen do not or cannot comment on our comments, it's a monologue, not a dialogue. When we have spent so much time, energy, and money addressing issues, asking questions, and trying to understand where our money is going here in Evanston, I would expect that we would have our questions and concerns addressed. How or when might this happen? Once you have addressed an issue, how will it be resolved? Having a document accepted and placed on file does not tell us how this was resolved. The issue still remains. When you refuse to hear our appeal, this does not resolve anything. The issues, questions, and concerns are still there. I did receive your update today on Robert Crown. Thank you. Now the only question is, that was not answered, is how are we paying for the $85 million municipal bond? There was not supposed to be a property tax increase last year, and I sincerely hope you're not planning one this year. If I understand correctly, our property tax is based on the value of our property, not based on how much it will cost for a new recreational center or a new theater or 26 new apartments with retail stores or Fountain Square, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The last item, Tad, on a positive note, I'd like to say that Evanston is probably the most diverse community I've ever lived in, has more volunteers than I have ever seen in any community. And I'm thinking that if we put all the volunteers together from Robert Crown, together with the volunteers for Harley Clark, we could have rebuilt both projects at little or no cost to taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Let's see, next up, we've got Doreen Price, then James Engelman, then Madeline Decree is the last speaker. Welcome, Doreen.
Hi, thank you very much. Many of you know and many of you don't. What I went through recently is going through a disaster, and the disaster is what the mayor and Eleanor Revelle and so many people worked on. But in terms of implementation, we weren't quite ready. And I think, first of all, my heart goes out to other people who have yet to be discovered. I had a 5-day delay with insurance and everything else, and even Service Master admits they screwed up. They have a specialist coming in. Did I have anyone from the city? No. The initial part of it, fire department, fantastic. Connection between fire department and 311, non-existent. So I went from Friday to Monday with no help and pleading with a phone that wasn't working for someone to help until my car was in there. I did not have a car. I'm living all alone. Social workers, I have a beautiful social worker. She works on the side and complains a little bit. I complain a little bit. We're a good match. The thing is that she could only do so much. It was her mother-in-law's birthday. It happens to be the day after mine, which is Friday the 8th. This happened Friday the 1st. I'm saying we need more social workers. Wally, if you don't get more social workers, I'm going to start complaining, okay? Your social workers could have triaged this whole thing, and there was something you know about personally that happened to me. It could have been avoided because one commander saw something that you didn't see, and it was not relayed, okay? So I'm not faulting you. I'm saying we got to get those human connections for disasters. It's the intuitive part and the part you know what's more important instead of catering to someone who apparently feels that some other things are more important than they should be. And so that was sorted out very quickly by Commander. I was amazed because I've been going through sorts of things for 3 years, Wally. And in terms of this sort of thing, to see, I was amazed. I was in tears. I cried on the phone. I cried afterward. My friends cried with me. A social worker cried with me. We all cried. 2 black friends of mine, very close, they suffer things like that all the time in terms of being ignored. I know. I work with these people, and I'm admiring them because they have such more hassles, I think, and deaths and things that are avoidable that I'm helping them learning about teas and stuff. And one of my closest friends, you guys will meet him, Keith. Keith said, it was very huge what was said to me. And I won't say it here because it's something very private until it's shared properly. But that huge thing for a black person, then I have another black friend who reacted independently. She didn't know. She used the same word, huge. So if somebody that simple, I cannot say enough about that moment that brought tears to my eyes because he recognized trauma. And trauma is what we all go through. And when we go through a disaster, we need more help, not less. We need to take more seriously. We need to be listened to. And if some people are traumatized and give you a little trouble, Wally, excuse me, it's because we're all traumatized to the point that any little thing makes us look like we're crazy. And I was afraid of being crazy. And then there were people telling me I wasn't, that I was doing really well. So I'm saying having people believe in you, have them, but you don't have access to all of them. So for me, being by myself, I dearly miss one of my favorite angels, everyone knows, as a social worker. And she'll be there, when I call her back. She cried too. Everyone cried. All the people that knew what I was going through for the past 3 years cried. So I'm crying for the people who have not been detected yet who need help. I urge Wally and the city staff to do exactly what fire department, even though they were missing some things, and the police department did. And there's been a struggle with the city to have that level of human interaction, and to look at enforcement as something that it should be all enticement, all positives. You can do it. It's past the theory, past the age of punishing kids. And we know that is true with adults who have been traumatized too.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing,
Thank you.
Doreen. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you to everybody, please. Thank you.
All right, James, come on up. You're next, James Engelman, and then the last one is Madeline Ducree.
I'm James Engelman, and I would like to, on 1901 Church Street, I wish you could make a special use, because I heard it's a good restaurant. It's going to be a good restaurant. And second thing, I love you guys, all the city workers, because I used to live in Chicago, and they used to have a message, and I remember how my mother used to come home late at night when there was an election. She used to be an election judge, and she used to tell me stories about what happened. And Evanston is more better than Chicago. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. We all appreciated hearing that. All right, Ms. Ducree is on her way up, and then she's the last one signed up for public comment today.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone outside, at home. Madeline Ducree here. Few things I wanted to talk to you about. The Evanston Police Sergeant Fraternity Order of Police. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that next time. And the other one about the shooting range. I sort of checked with Officer Dugan. He gave me a little bit more input. So before I come up here running this, I want to know a little bit more what I'm talking about. Okay, the next thing on the list is about the, and also I wanted right quick, I wanted to mention about the CJE, the senior citizen on Howard Street. I would hope that the council members do a little bit more probing. Make sure that's some area there that's for the poor folks, okay? I know what I'm talking about. I've worked at the CJE. Thank you. No downplay here, Ann Rainey. It's just that I'm looking out for people like me who need a place to stay. Well, not me, I have my home, but I'm talking about my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, my children. They need affordable housing too, affordable units in there. I heard what I heard, but I want to make sure. So, council members, do your homework. Okay, the next thing is on 2102 Darrell. Is that Lorraine Martin, old house? Thank you. I'll talk to you later, Fifth Ward Alderman. Thank you. Jackson and Emerson Street. What about the development there? I hear you. I was at home trying to hurry up and get through cooking for my grandson and so forth, and I was listening to the administration and the development, and I was just shocked how so many people can come here and talk, and you all give them all this time to talk about a building. Why not at the Fifth Ward? Why don't you give us a chance at the Fifth Ward, okay? And I know our alderman do her thing and everything, and she tries, but Fifth Ward alderman is not the only place that live here in Evanston. The rest of us live here in Evanston as a whole. Now, I know the Fifth Ward have single-family homes, and that is the only place that I'm aware of that you can't go up yet. We only have so much room here, so much space. I got that. But God darn it, give us a little respect when you bring them developments over here, okay? Just a little bit. Let us discuss it like you all discussed tonight over things. It's called respect. Now, let's get down to the sanctuary city. Stop lying to me and us, okay? I'll talk fast. Stop lying to us about jobs not being taken by immigrants who come in this country, okay? Stop lying to us. Because I know for a fact that the people I know was on jobs and the people could not speak English. Polish, Muslim, Hebrew, whatever. Speak English. I went to Valley. I was so upset because they're talking a different language, two different languages. I said, wait a minute, what is this? I speak English. Learn the English. It's just like President Bush said, learn English. Communicate, assimilate, but learn English. I'm having trouble with my children, other people's children at District 65 and 202. I go to a board meeting at 202. The first thing I get in there, I sit down comfortable. They're talking about black boys having problems. What the heck is going on? My children went through this, okay? I'm going to finish up here.
In
And
15 seconds, we
District
got to wrap this up.
65 still have the gap, all right? Sanctuary City, profiling here in Evanston. How in the heck can you stop felons from black folks and you don't stop somebody else who is here illegal and you don't know what's on their background check? Now, Seven said all of that. Don't you dare think I want to see children out here being separated from their parents. We were separated.
Mr. Cree,
One more
wrap
thing.
it up.
I'm sorry.
We're way
One more
over the
thing.
3 minutes,
And-
ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Wally. Would you like for me to? Okay, say what I have to say there.
You can come. You
Okay.
can come back. You can come back another night,
I'm
and you
gonna,
can have your 3 minutes,
Wally,
ma'am.
I want you to know. Excuse me. I want you to know. I admire you as a businessman. You're a shrewd businessman. I like that, okay? But I feel that you are ready to leave, ready to go. Anybody who wants to stay, don't fall out of the jobs. Let this man go. Let him go. Help him to go. But don't give him any more money. I'll talk some more.
Thank you, Mr. Cree.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that wraps up our public comment tonight. So thank you, everybody, for coming out and sharing your thoughts and your concerns. We're now going to move to the agenda of the City Council. We're going to move into the consent agenda. Alderman Ruth Simmons, if you take us through M1 and then APW, please.
Thank you, Mayor Haggerty. M1 is approval of minutes of the regular City Council meeting, January 28th, 2019.
Yeah, keep going through, and then we'll get the seconds at the end.
Alderman Ravel, will you go through the consent agenda, please, for me?
Sure.
Fleming?
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Hold on, let me just find it. A1 is payroll January 7th, 2018 through January 20th, 2000. That's supposed to be 19, I believe. I just realized, is there a typo, City Manager? Right. On A1, it's supposed to be 2019 for payroll?
Yes.
Yes, that should be 2019. Thank you.
All right. January 7th, 2019 through January 20th, 2019, $2,923. $2,923,625.63. Bills list dated February 12th, 2019 for fiscal year 2018, $690,623.58. Bills list February 12th, 2019 fiscal year 19, $393,957.69. BMO credit card without Amazon, period ending November 26, 2018, $154,991.78. I'm going to skip 3. Is that okay?
Yeah, A3 will be
Okay.
off.
A4 contract for environmental monitoring study race transfer station with RHP Risk Management in the amount of $229,300. A5.
Can you just, Alderman, I'm sorry, can you just note after each one what they're up for, like for action on that one?
Oh, sorry, that's for
Thank you.
action. A5 is also for action. It's pro support renewal agreement with Dell Technologies in the amount of $43,007.16. A6 is also for action. It's the agreement renewal with Otis Elevator Company for 2019 through 2020 elevator service. Elevator service and maintenance at various city facilities. That is in the amount of $60,324,000 for each year. So that's 2019, 2020, and 2021. A7 is for action. The agreement with Siemens Industry Incorporated for building automation system for the HVAC system at the police headquarters in the amount of $28,600. A8 is Park Evanston mobile app incentive. This is an incentive program that will give Park Evanston mobile app wallet users a one-time $5 free credit if they preload with $20. This is for action and there is no cost. Sorry. A9 is for action, change order number 1 to the agreement for South Standpipe Pump Station Motor Control Center and building renovation. This is going to extend the contract time to April 9th, 2019. There is no change in price here. A10 is also for action, funding approval for the demolition of the abandoned building at 2020 Green Bay Road in Evanston. The cost for this demolition is $33,925 and is being paid for by a grant from the Abandoned Residential Property Municipality Relief Grant, which is from the Illinois Housing Development Authority. A11 is for action. It's the collective bargaining agreement with the Evanston Police Sergeants Fraternal Order of Police. That will take us, that contract will go January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2022. A12 is also for action, the collective bargaining agreement, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. That contract will go dated January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2022. A13 is for action, the resolution 11-R-19, motor fuel tax funds used for roadway resurfacing project. This will allow the city manager, this resolution adoption will allow the use of motor fuel tax funds in the amount of $1,206,000 for street resurfacing and surface patching. A14 is for introduction. Ordinance 14-0-19, increasing the number of Class D liquor licenses for stacked and folded at 824 Noyes Street.
Great.
Is that it?
And that's for introduction. Thank you. Alderman Ravel, can you take us through planning and development?
Sure. P1, Resolution 13-R-19, approving a plat of re-subdivision for 2102 Darrow Avenue. This is for action. P2 is Ordinance 12-0-19, granting a special use for a Type 2 restaurant, Spice, at 1905 Church Street. Zoning Board of Appeals and City staff recommend adoption of the ordinance granting special use approval for this restaurant in the B2 district and the West Evanston Overlay District. The applicant has complied with all zoning requirements and meets all the standards for a special use of the district. And Alderman Ruth Simmons requests suspension of the rules for introduction and action at our meeting this evening. Item P3 is Ordinance 11-0-19, granting a special use for a Type 2 restaurant, Phil's Coffee, at 1030 Davis Street. Zoning Board of Appeals and city staff recommend adoption of the ordinance granting special use approval for a Type 2 restaurant, Phil's Coffee, at 1030 Davis Street in the D2 Downtown Retail Core District. The applicant has complied with all zoning requirements and meets all of the standards for a special use for the district. Alderman Wilson requests suspension of the rules for introduction and action at our meeting this evening. Item P4 is continued in committee. Item P5, Ordinance 4-0-19, granting a special use permit for a planned development located at 1714-1720 Chicago Avenue and amending the zoning map. Plan Commission and staff recommend denial. And there's going to be a new proposal coming to us. This is for introduction. And item P6, Ordinance 9-0-19, granting.
That, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Removing, I'm sorry, P5 or P6?
P6.
Okay.
There we go. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Wilson, could you just take us through Rules Committee, since Alderman Braithwaite's out?
Item 01, Resolution 12R19, amending the City Council rules and organization of the Council, Section 6, regarding citizen participation. The Rules Committee is recommending that the City Council adopt Resolution 12R19, amending the Council Rule 6, citizen participation, to state that seating time is not permitted. That is for action.
Great. Is there a second? Okay, City Clerk, could you take the roll, please?
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Wilson. Alderman Ruth Simmons.
Aye.
Alderman Suffredin.
Aye.
Alderman Ravel. Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Alderman Fleming.
Aye.
All right, thank you. The consent agenda passes the Evanston City Council this evening on an 8-0 vote. All right, we're going to move to the items that were pulled off. The first one is A3. Alderman Fleming, could you just read that one?
A3 is for action. It's the BMO Amazon credit card activity period ending November 26, 2018, in the amount of $6,369.59.
All right. Seeing no lights, City Clerk, could you take the roll, please?
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Wilson. Alderman Ruth Simmons.
Aye.
Alderman Suffredin.
I abstain.
Alderman Ravel. Alderman Rainey. Alderman Fleming.
Thank you. Item A3, BMO Amazon credit card activity passed the Evanston City Council on a 7-0 vote, with Alderman Suffredin abstaining. Alderman Ravel, could you take us to P6?
Ordinance 9-0-19, granting a special use for a ground floor medical office and major zoning relief for no additional parking at 524 Main Street. Zoning Board of Appeals and city staff recommend adoption of the ordinance granting a special use approval for a ground floor medical office, North Shore University Health System, and major zoning relief for no additional parking spaces, where 7 additional parking spaces are required for a medical office in the C1A Commercial Mixed Use District and the Dempster, Maine Overlay District. The applicant has complied with all zoning requirements and meets all of the standards for special use and major variations for this district, and this is for action.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Alderman Suffredin?
Thank you. I just wanted to ask Johanna Leonard for just clarification on how the pickup and drop-off situation we handled. There will be signs, and will there be monitoring and enforcement?
Johanna Leonard, Community Development Director. So deliveries and pickups of medical supplies, specimens, that piece?
No, more patients, and how are we going to handle patient drop-offs? There will be signs saying, drop-off prohibited here. And
Correct.
They're intended to go into the building, but is there going to be any enforcement or geofencing with the rideshare to prevent?
We have talked to the rideshare companies about geofencing throughout Evanston. So I've asked staff to include this as part of that discussion and locations.
All right, great.
Can you explain geofencing? Because it's a pretty new term. Just make sure everybody understands.
Sure. So geofencing is working with rideshare companies, Lyft and Uber, to designate specific areas for pickups and drop-offs. So it's not a free-for-all. You can just pick up where you and your phone are. It would direct either a passenger to a specific location or say no pickups allowed here. So one spot that has been discussed is Ridge, also Sheridan Road and near the campus. It also helps direct people to a specific location, so a driver is not meandering around looking for somebody and a phone while they're trying to operate a vehicle.
Right. Stay up there in case we have another question here. We've got a light, at least, from Alderman Fleming.
Yeah, I don't have a question actually for you, Johanna. It's for the North Shore staff, and it's more of a comment. And I did speak to him about this before, so he's not caught off guard. But I'm happy to support this. I did give them a strong encouragement that they would consider taking county care. So county care is a free medical program that we do have a lot of citizens in the city of Evanston on. And currently, in order to access county care with North Shore, you have to get a referral from Erie or some other care center. And if anyone's ever sent a citizen to Erie, they're great, but they sometimes have a waiting list. And being that they are going to open up this urgent care, I was hoping that this would encourage them to just think about how they can better serve our entire population, particularly those who don't have, an HMO or Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever. My other suggestion or comment for them was that recently, I think last week, the fire chief came and spoke about our integrated community health program that they're doing with Presence. And I know that Chief Scott did make an appeal to North Shore, and they at the time declined. But again, as they're kind of reaching out more into our community, I would hope that they would strongly consider partnering with that program, because that's going to help keep some of our citizens who don't access primary care doctors out of the hospital so much. And being that St. Francis is our only emergency room that does take county care, I would hope that North Shore can expand their role to make sure they're serving our entire citizen base.
Great, thank you. All right, seeing no more lights, City Clerk, could you please take the roll on P6, Ordinance 9-0-19, granting a special use for a ground floor medical office and major zoning relief for no additional parking at 524 Main?
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Braithwaite. Alderman Nguyen.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson. Alderman Rue Simmons.
Aye.
Alderman Sufferton. Alderman Ravel. Alderman Rainey. Alderman Fleming.
Aye.
All right, P6 Ordinance 9-0-19 passes the Evanston City Council on an 8-0 vote. We're now going to go to call of the wards. Alderman Fisk.
Wow, that was quick. Good job. I have a couple of referrals to make. One regarding the Human Services Committee. I would like us to invite Lawrence Hemingway to come and give us an update on the dog beach for 2019 and what that looks like. And I don't remember what my other reference was, so maybe I'll pipe up again when it comes back.
Okay. All right, great, thank you. Alderman Nguyen.
No report.
Alderman Wilson.
Reminder that we have the Robert Crown Community Center community meeting at 6 p.m. on the 13th.
Okay, Alderman Fisk.
Thanks, I remembered. So that my next referral is also to Human Services, and it's to look at the special events that come to Evanston that wish to use our parks, but who do not have a connection with an Evanston not-for-profit. I'd like to refer that to Human Services to look at what our charges for that might be, or how we can encourage these activities to partner with an Evanston not-for-profit. That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Alderman Rue Simmons.
Thank you. I'd like to invite everyone to come to our Fifth Ward meeting this Wednesday, 7 p.m. here at the Civic Center in room G300. We will have a presentation by a new proposed development or restaurant, actually Stacked and Folded, as well as a presentation for Black History Month by the NAACP. Additionally, on the, is it the 13th? We have a honorary street naming unveiling for Mr. Nathan Halliburton. It will be at 3 p.m. on the 16th of February, and it will be on the corner of Wesley and Emerson. It will be followed immediately by a reception that will be held at Fleetwood Jourdain until 5 p.m. All are encouraged to come and celebrate Mr. Halliburton for many years of business and service in the community. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Alderman Sufferton?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to the Evanston Pointers Group at Westminster Place for hosting myself, Erica Storley, and Daniel Stein for a discussion this afternoon. And that's it. Thanks.
Great. Alderman Ravel? Alderman Rainey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to report that we had a wonderful three-neighborhood meeting this past week at Peckish Pig, where the city did not pay for a patio. Peckish Pig paid for its own patio, plus we made a profit. Second of all, I want to offer Ray the opportunity to meet with me, and I'm going to explain to him exactly how all of the economic development happened on Howard Street. And he's going to go away so proud and maybe take to his neighborhood how that happened. And to Madeline, I want to explain to her that the project on Howard Street, should Ida accept it, will provide, as far as I know, the only housing in the city of Evanston, affordable housing, for people, required for people with under 30% of median income. You can't get any more needy than that. So we're doing the best of anybody in the city of Evanston. So it's going to be under 50% and under 30% of median income. And that's really important for seniors. It is not going to be for families. It is for seniors. So, and, you know, if you want to talk more about that, I'll be glad to talk with you about it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Fleming.
I just want to give a compliment to the jazz band at the high school. I went to their jazz showcase. I didn't see you this year, Alderman Simmons. I was looking for you. But it was fabulous. The kids were remarkable, and they had a band, the community band from Chicago State University, that was also fabulous. So if you ever have a chance to hear a jazz band at the high school, best concert I've ever seen for $20. So thank you so much for our talented students.
Excellent. Thank you, Alderman Fleming. A couple of cleanup items. First up is Alderman Ruth Simmons, and then I have one.
I just wanted to correct that date. It is Sunday, the 17th of February. We will have the unveiling for Mr. Nathan Halliburton and a reception to follow immediately at Fleetwood Jourdain. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I wanted to just make an announcement that I have a town hall meeting coming up, which is a week from this Wednesday. It's Wednesday, February 20th at 7 p.m., and it'll be at the Ecology Center in Evanston. Alderman Wilson, could you take us into executive session, please?
Thank you. Pursuant to 5 Illinois compiled statutes, ILCS 120/2A, I move that the City Council convene into executive session to discuss agenda items regarding personnel and collective bargaining. These agenda items are permitted subjects to be considered in executive session and are enumerated exceptions under the Open Meetings Act. These exceptions are 5 ILCS 120/2A, C1 and C2.
Great. City Clerk, could you take the roll, please?
Alderman Fisk, Alderman Braithwaite, Alderman Nguyen, Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Ruth Simmons, Alderman Sufferton, Alderman Ravel, Alderman Rainey, Alderman Fleming.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to the Monday, February 11th Evanston City Council meeting. We're going to recess now into executive session. Good night.